Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Today, today I want to go build a witch farm. Now, most people, when they build witch farms, they're doing it for the redstone, because you can get redstone from witch. Well, I want the glowstone. I want the glowstone that the witches are able to drop. So, I have here a couple of shulker boxes with everything that I think I'm going to need. So I have a bunch of blackstone. We're going to end up turning this into slabs, and we're going to use a bunch of slabs in the build. We're going to need probably a little bit more glass than this, but this is all that I had at the moment. So we're going to see how far that gets us, and maybe we'll have to come back and grab a little bit more. I'm going to need roughly 3 stacks and a little bit more of building blocks, solid building blocks. So I'm going with light gray and andesite. I'm actually going to try to mix these together and see how that looks. I'm going to need some redstone dust, 28 trapdoors, 6 comparators. I don't know how big I want to make my storage area yet, so I'm just brought up a whole bunch of chests. At least 3 hoppers. That's the minimum that you'll need with just a single double chest. So I'm going to probably end up grabbing a bunch more hoppers. 2 sticky pistons, a block of redstone, a lever, an observer, a redstone repeater, a torch, soul sand block. I'm bringing a block of iron because we're going to need 24 mine carts. We're going to kill the witches using entity cramming. So we're going to need 24 mine carts to make that happen. A single rail, a couple of water buckets. There is going to be water near the witch hut, so I just need the buckets. 24 targets. I'm bringing in some extra light gray dye, and this is for in case I need more glass. I can turn the rest of my glass into the light gray glass again. I'm going to need some torches, stone cutter for the blackstone, crafting table for crafting up all of the mine carts. And then I'm going to need some building blocks to tower up to our AFK spot. So that should be all of the materials. Let me grab my extra hoppers. 16 extra hoppers. So I think I'm comfortable with that. Now, the most important aspect of building a witch farm is actually the location. So if you remember when we went and created these maps and flew all over the place, there was a witch hut up here somewhere. And then there was also a witch hut down here. Now I went and flew over both of them that I saw. And this one has a lot of land around it, so we're going to choose to not go after this one. And we're going to go after this witch hut over here because it's kind of out in the middle of the swamp and there's a whole bunch of water around it. And that's going to be really useful for setting up the farm, so we won't have to run around and mob proof a whole large area. So I'm going to grab this map, gonna throw it in my offhand, and we're going to go and fly over to where our witch hut is. Here's the witch hut that we're going to turn into a farm. So I'm going to have to mob proof a kind of a large area around here. The other place was a lot worse though, so I think we'll be all right here. Now witches are able to drop 7 items plus an assortment of potions. The 7 items are redstone, glowstone, gunpowder, which I really don't need a secondary farm for it, but I want the glowstone that bad, so I'm willing to have an abundance of gunpowder, sugar, spider eyes, glass bottles, and sticks. So those are the items. So let's get started with making the farm. So if I fly down here, I believe there's still going to be a witch inside. And I guess there's no witch inside. All right. So the next thing we need to do is we need to kind of set up where our spawning platforms need to be. So if I put down a shulker box here and I grab some wool, let's grab just my wool building blocks here. So the platform is going to end up being kind of here on this level. So on the same level that the fence posts are. And then we need to build it so that the witch hut is kind of entirely inside of this spawning platform. So if I go along here, it's going to be out to here because there's the roof that hangs out. And then on the other side, I can go out to this block here because the porch hangs out. And then I'm going to want to pull this over to here because this is where the roof hangs over onto this block. So I'm going to fill this all in, and then I can go 2 blocks down and build another platform at this level here. And I can go 2 levels up and build it basically on top of the roof. So we'll be able to have 3 levels of this witch farm. So let me get going on that, and I will end up removing the entirety of the witch farm itself, of the witch hut itself. We do not need any of the structure here in order for witches to spawn. So let me get to work on that. Now I finished building the spawning platforms for all 3 layers, and they are the exact dimensions of the witch hut, which happens to be a 9x7 footprint. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to extend out 1 more block on the 7 side so that I end up having a 9x8 platform here for all 3 different layers. Now I'm going to choose to put that extra block on this side because I think I want my AFK spot to be closer, surrounded by all of this water, so that I have less of this land over here to actually have to clear and to light up. So let me add another block, and then we're going to add glass blocks along the sides here of that 8 long, and then also on the back. So we're going to kind of encircle all 3 sides with glass. So this is what it looks like now with the glass walls all on all 3 sides. So I'm going to have to go in now and add in the trapdoors. Now the trapdoors need to be kind of put in a very specific way. So I'm standing here on the back end so that when I flip them up, you see how they're on this side of the last block. So when I grab my water bucket and I put a bucket of water in here, it holds the water. But when I drop it down, it's able to flow all the way out to the very last block, all the way down there. So that is the idea. So let me put in the trapdoors for the next 2 layers, and I'll also get all of the water in as well. Now with the glass in, the trapdoors in, and the water all in, I'm going to run along the back side here and put in redstone wire here. And I'm going to do that on all 3 layers. And additionally, since I'm already up here at the top, or I'm no longer at the top, I'm going to pull the glass down here as well from up top. So once my redstone is in and I made the glass line all the way down, I'm actually going to go out a block. So let me grab a temporary block. So go out a block, and then I can make a wall here, and I'm going to make this solid all the way down to the bottom down there. All right, now that we put our front panel on, I think we can start building the actual kind of chamber for the witches to fall down into and start dying. So we're going to come over here to the front side here, and there's a lot of land this way, and so I want to try to go as far out this way as I can. So I'm going to, let me get underneath here. Now the idea is witches are going to spawn in here. The water is going to release and they're going to be pushed off here. So we're going to have a water stream on this line here that's going to push them into the corner. And then that's where they're going to fall into all of the minecarts and die from entity cramming. So I want them to be low enough so that when a new witch spawns here and is pushed along with the water, he doesn't bump up against the other witches and is able to just fall right in. I think this will be alright. So we're going down 2 rows below the actual spawning platform. So I will have to clear all of the water out and put in my kind of glass cage around it. Now that I have my trench dug out, I'm going to put a bucket of water here on this side so that it flows, all of the water flows down towards where I want my collection system. So now we can hop down here, and you see where the water ends exactly on the end, so we don't have water spilling down here. Let me clear out a little bit more space. Now we're going to want 2 blocks here, and then we're going to place our soul soil. So actually I need this dirt again. So now this is where all of the mobs are going to fall and die. So if I put a rail right here, and then this is where all of the mine carts come into place. So I need to place 24 mine carts on this rail so that when any witches slide over and fall down into here, they will start taking damage, and that's how we will kill them. So minecart time. Alright, so I have all of the minecarts in there. Now I can take a piece of glass and encase it in there so that that minecart, doesn't move. But I do need to get that rail out of there. Alright, let me go get my right pick, because I definitely put away my silk touch. So if I remove the glass now, then I remove the rail. Now I can put the glass back and everything should be alright. Alright. So now the next thing we need to do is our collection system. So I'm going to put a double chest right here. Then I'm going to run a hopper going into it. So this will collect all of our loot. And for right now, I think we want to just, make a decent size hole here. And we're gonna just put a whole bunch of chests in here. That is not what I selected. One of my chests. Chests. More chests. Alright. So now that we have our chests in here, I'm just going to add a whole bunch of hoppers in, pointing into all of these chests. So this is a similar way that I did like the gold farm. So there are all of my chests with all of the hoppers going in. Now that we have the killing chamber and our storage system all set up on the front, it's time to come to the back and do some redstone stuff and kind of set up the clock that will release the water and let the witches get pushed off, and then have it close back down so that more witches are able to spawn. So we're going to head back here to the back. We're going to try to find the center. So 1, 2, 3. Believe this is the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be center. And I'm going to want to head back. I think it's going to be 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to want to do a side of 4 here on the side. Then what we're going to want to do is we're going to take our repeater here. We're going to put it on this block right here, and then we're going to take some redstone dust And then we're going to have 2 comparators going this way and 2 comparators going this way. And then a little bit of dust as well. Next, we're going to take a solid block and we're going to place it here. We actually are going to remove this glass block. Now the reason why I have to use a solid block here and not a glass block is because of the signal. The signal won't actually go through the glass. Next we're going to want to take our torch and put it here, and then we're going to put another piece of redstone dust right here. We then can kind of make a staircase all the way up to the second level here. So we're going to put a glass here and a glass here. And then we're going to run redstone up. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a piece of glass here, put redstone on it, and then another piece of glass right here and run redstone up that. Now we have to use glass for this little bit of ladder right here, because otherwise if we used a solid block, it would get cut off halfway up. So this is kind of what part of our... Oh, this is actually the pulse extender. This isn't the clock itself. So this is the pulse extender. We're going to set up the clock over here. So this is everything that we need for the pulse extender. All right, now it's time for the actual clock itself so that we can extend the pulse. So I'm going to come over here to my repeater and I'm going to actually build a couple of temporary blocks here. I'm then going to take my block of redstone, place it there, and then I have my observer facing into it so that the little red dot here is facing the repeater. And then I'm also going to put the repeater on the maximum delay, so a 4-tick delay. Next, I'm going to want to come over here and put down a couple of temporary blocks so that I can place my sticky piston facing that way so it's going to be able to push the block of redstone. I then need to come over here and actually need to do an extra block for a temporary block so that I can remove these two so that when I put my sticky piston down here, there's a block of air between it when it's not extended. Now, the next thing I need to do is actually to put a hopper down. Now, this is technically temporary because I need to have a hopper going into this hopper. Then I'm going to remove this first hopper and point it back into the hopper so that the hoppers are both pointing into each other. Now I'm going to put down a piece of glass right here. And actually, I'm going to put down a piece of glass right here as well. And then I can also put down a solid block there in between them. And I suppose I could have kept that dirt block, but it doesn't look very nice, so I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So glass block next to the hopper, and glass block next to the sticky piston, and then temporary block and building block between the two pieces of glass. Now I need to put down a comparator there and a comparator there. And then I can come over here onto the glass block and put down another piece of redstone dust. And this should pretty much be the clock. Now the only other thing I need to do is I need to actually put items in here, because this will slowly move items from this hopper over to the other one. And then once this one gets full, it'll actually move it back. So that is how our clock is working. Now, you might have noticed over here that we have our redstone lines all done, and we have our clock going, we have our extender going, pulse extender going, but we're not actually having the water flow out. And that's because we're missing something very important. We are missing target blocks, actually. So I'm going to go through here. I can't climb up there. I'm going to go through here, and I'm actually going to place target blocks here on top of all of the trapdoors. So I'm going to cover the entire ceiling of this farm in half slabs, and I'm going to do blackstone half slabs. So let me pull a bunch of these out of here. And I have my stone cutter, so I should be good to go. And as you probably saw, I brought some obsidian and flint and steel over, because it takes quite a while to fly all the way over here. So I think we're going to go through the nether, and we'll set up a hallway or a path over here. So I think that'll work. So let me get to work on the roof. So I've started the roof, and I've just kind of covered up the spawning platform themselves. So this is a 9x8 platform here. And it's important to remember to do the bottom half of the block instead of the top slab. If we were to do the top side, a mob would be able to spawn on top of it. But since we're doing the bottom side here, no mobs are able to spawn. And that's the point of slabbing all of this, is to prevent mob spawning from on top of this. Now, once I have my 9x8 platform, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go out on all sides here, and I'm going to go out 15 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what it looks now with all of the arms out, 15 blocks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head out here, and on these flat sides, we're just going to go ahead and connect them straight across. So something like that. And then for these corner pieces, we're actually going to go diagonal and connect them up. So I think if I go something like this, this will work. Something like that. And then you just fill in all of the rest of the area around your outline. So I've got work to do. This is what the farm looks like now that I've put the roof all the way on it. Now we just have a couple more things. There's a couple of spots over here with our hopper clock that we should put some slabs on, because otherwise mobs can spawn on top of it. The pistons, the solid block there on the end, and a couple other places. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to make our AFK platform way up in the sky so that we can just stand up there and we don't have to worry about loading in all of the caves underneath. And I actually found kind of a big cave system right here. So that might be a little bit interesting. I might have to clear a whole bunch of that out. And I'm gonna have to clear out a lot of this land in order to actually make the rates be pretty good. So let's make our AFK platform, and I'm going to slab up the hoppers. All right, so this is what I slabbed up on the clock, the observer, the piston, the hoppers, the redstone block, the air gap, and then the two solid blocks on the end. I'm also going to walk over here and slab this block up because there's no redstone dust on top of it. And mobs would be able to spawn there too. So let's go deal with our AFK spot now. All right, to set up our AFK spot, we're going to need to make sure we know what layer our where all of our witchers are going to be being killed. So that's going to be this block right up here. So if we go into F3, I'm at 56 right now, but I'm also down 2 blocks. So I'm actually going to count 128 from 57, which 57 plus 128 is going to be 185, I believe. Hold on. Yes, it is 185. So let me get back out of my little storage area, and I'm gonna have to come back in and make that a lot better than what it is. All right, now that we know how high up we need to go, roughly 185, I might drop it down a block. I might go 184 instead of 185. We now need to pillar all the way up there. So I'll be here for a little bit. 184. Okay. So now I have my AFK spot high above the witch farm down below. I think I'm gonna make maybe a 3x3 platform here. Yeah, I like that. That's big enough. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a trap door. Then temporary building block. And then I'm going to build my portal here. So now if I grab my obsidian, ooh, I'm probably going to need more obsidian. And let's just do this for now. All right, so I need to go up one more block. All right, so there's our portal. I'm going to remove this block here. And then I'm going to place a trapdoor here. Now, the reason why I'm placing 2 trapdoors here is there will be times when zombie piglins will spawn. And then they'll be taking up the mob cap, I believe. And since we want everything to be spawning down there in our witch hut, and only the witches down there in the witch hut, we're going to want to kill them. So, if we put a couple of trapdoors here, and then lower them when we're in our AFK spot, they should be able to think that this is a solid block, so they'll walk off, and then they'll drop, and then they'll die, and then that'll free up the mob cap. So, I think that'll work. And there won't be that many zombie piglins spawning in the first place, so even if they do spawn and just kind of walk around here for a while before finally walking off, it should be okay. So that is the plan for that. Next thing we need to do is put a roof over our head, and that should be everywhere slabbed above me. The major reason why I want slabs above where my AFK spot is that will stop phantoms from being able to spawn. And then I lit it up here with some torches. I might as well put a torch under my feet as well. And this will prevent normal mobs from spawning. Then the only other thing to do is to light the nether portal. And let's see what kind of location we have over here. I am in Nether Wastes. Do I recognize this at all? Don't. We might have a Soul Sand Valley over there. In fact, I think we do. I think I see a couple of skeletons over there. So I think that means that's a Soul Sand Valley. There's a little bit more of the basalt deltas over here. But I think we're going to try to move our portal way up into the ceiling again. And we are here at 20 and minus 243. Now our nether hub is at positive 60, so 40 blocks that way. And then minus 50, so almost 200 blocks that direction. So we're off that way somewhere. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to the nether portal. So I'm going to fly all the way back to my base. And then I'm going to hop into the nether and start tunneling all the way over here. And that way I'll have enough netherrack to tower up into the ceiling. And I'll be able to link it up to our witch farm here. Now, I was running into a lot of issues when I was trying to get witches to spawn, and in fact, I was having absolutely no witches spawning in our farm down there. So I went through and I cleared all the trees and I lit it all up and made sure that I didn't have any mobs spawning. So right now I have 8 mobs, hostile mobs spawned. But nothing was working. I wasn't getting any witches to spawn. And then I finally figured out that it was my version of Forge. I was in an older version of 1.17.1 Forge. So I updated the Forge version, and I believe that fixed my issue as far as getting witches to spawn. So let's head on down here and we'll take a look. Well, I have some normal hostile mobs here, and here are some witches. Yeah, I wasn't seeing any of these guys before, so this is good. And let's take a look. Ooh, 34 glowstone already, 40 redstone, nice. Got some spider eyes, some sugar, a lot of glass bottles already, and some sticks. So this is good. This is very good. The portals are now linked, and I actually ended up going past the nether fortress that we have down that wing. And so I ended up finding, you know, spending some time, and I found a couple more wither skeleton skulls, so we'll have to build another beacon, and yeah. So I might spend some time here AFKing, I'm trying to grab some more loot from the witches. And there's a couple more projects I want to do with the actual witch farm itself. I want to do a filtering system, and I possibly even want to send all of the items back to our base. But those are projects that are not gonna happen today. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.